Hey there, Internet Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars with Keeve YouTube channel. It is springtime. You can hear the birds chirping in the background. I hope you don't mind that. But it is car wash season with the pollen and everything. And I want to go over a few things that a lot of people ask me, why do I do this? And one of the biggest things is, why do you guys spend the extra money and go with aftermarket pressure washer guns? You see, I was just using that, leaking water everywhere. And why don't you use the ones that come with the pressure washer? Now, that's an interesting question. From a performance standpoint, if you're using the same nozzle tip, it's the same performance. Maybe slightly different between the two, possibly, but not a whole lot. If you wash your car all the time, you want it to be as an enjoyable experience as possible. We'll also go over why do we use a heavy-duty hose and not the hose that comes with the package. Once again, the hose that comes with the package, not much difference in performance, slightly more GPM on a bigger one because it's a bigger hose. So let's get right into rinsing. Like I said before, there's really no performance difference, as you can see. It works just fine. In this tip right here, you can change the different orifice levels to get more PSI or more GPM, whichever direction you want to go. The bigger the orifice, the more gallons per minute you're going to get, the lower the PSI. When you're washing a car, you want to stay around 1,000 PSI. You can go up to 1,200, but I wouldn't get much above that, especially with a wrapped car. You don't want to put that much pressure. It's all about that rinsing power. That's where the gallons per minute come in. Now for me, like I said, the biggest problem is, also, the sun's going to come and go, so if my lighting's off, but at least you get to see Heidi change colors. Now this is a little bit higher quality gun that comes with the VE52 pressure washer. There are some ones that are even cheaper that don't even have metal wand and they don't have metal turn parts or anything. But I'm just going to go over mainly this part, and the reason I don't like these is the hose comes into the middle, which throws off your balance of the gun. Because now you have the pressure coming in here. You have a hose that has no swivel. It's stuck that way. So you're at the mercy of the hose and what it wants to do. And then you're sitting there having to hold it basically with two hands to be able to wash the top of the car because you don't have any leverage on the gun. It's really hard to have any control with one hand because the pressure's coming out so far down at the end of this nozzle. It's creating a lot of leverage for that pressure. So you have to basically hold it with two hands. So you now lost any advantage of this wand, really. And it really hurts you when you're trying to get to the top of the car, when you're trying to avoid scratching the car with your hose. Try to rinse because like this, you can do that, but you have no control, and now you're completely just wearing yourself out trying to wash the car. Also, like I said, with the swivel, let's go over the hose. The biggest problem with the hose for me is that it just wants to kink up all the time because you're at the mercy of however you move the wand. The hose wants to do, but it just wants to curl up and kink and loop and loop. That's the biggest problem. And almost every single one of these comes with a 25-foot hose, which isn't long enough to get to the back of the car. As you can see, I have the hose stretched all the way. It's touching my tire there. My pressure washer is only 3 feet from the front of the car. That's one of the other biggest problems is the hoses aren't long enough. Not necessarily the quality of the hose. It's actually a pretty good quality hose that comes with this pressure washer. So if you want to know anything about this wand and that pressure washer, check out a video I just recently did for the VE52. Just an amazing thing. Now, like I said in many videos, this is more about people who do this all the time. If you do this once a month, everything that comes with the pressure washer is just good. I would suggest, like I said, the VE52 because it comes with a little bit higher quality products, has the metal wand, detachable quick disconnects here. That makes it even better. That makes this one not as bad. There are some that are really bad. They come with an attachment at the top that just lets you like select between 3 different degrees. You can't choose which nozzles you want to use. You don't have the ability to disconnect the foam cannon and stuff like that. This one actually does. You can actually thread this off, and you can also put one here. So this is a little bit better water gun as well. So the biggest advantage of this gun really over the modified one or the aftermarket one is the M22 thread. So from the hose, from the pressure washer, everything you got is an out-of-the-box solution that requires no tools. These M22 threads are hand tight and they won't leak. You won't need to use a tool to tighten them down. With the aftermarkets, especially a lot of the quick disconnect connections that you make and the hose connections you make need to be Teflon taped, torqued down to make sure that they don't leak. Like you see my setup here, another reason I like aftermarket is because I can do custom setups and I can do things the way I want to. I can get a hose that has a hose reel that that just, it's a really good hose overall. So you can see this hose is a 1/4 inch, so it's much smaller. It's only rated to 140 degrees and 2320 psi. These are rated to between 4 and 5,000 psi, so you know it's going to last longer, especially being rubbed against the pavement all the time. But this one actually is a little bit better, higher quality one. Some of them are just straight plastic, and it's just horrible. And if you got one of those, I would definitely change it. Period. Even if you were just washing once a month, I would definitely change out that hose, because those hoses are just horrible. They're going to wind up hitting your paint at some point, and you're not going to want that. So, aftermarket gun, aftermarket hose. This is the SGS-28. I'm actually going to do another video on this as a review and an issue I had with this as well that I was able to fix myself. But having the swivel built into the handle is a big thing. But if you have an aftermarket gun that isn't that expensive, you can always buy a swivel joint, which I highly recommend because it allows you to control the hose. The hose does not control you. You can keep it from touching the car, you can keep it from getting kinked up, looped up, and it makes it a lot easier washing experience. From the hand, your wrist is more in control, and there's less pressure and less stress on your wrist because the pressure point is right here. Now you can get the wand attachment, but even with the wand attachment, you still have control because the wand angles off and you have control from here, and the wand's only, you know, about that long. It's not like this long like the other gun is. Now the biggest thing with the aftermarket ones is, like I said before, you control the gun. The gun doesn't control you. You get to do what you want. Even without a wand on a low car like this, I can reach the other side of the hood from here. I can rinse off the whole thing. Now on a taller SUV, you would definitely want that wand attachment to allow you to have it a lot easier. Now, like on my wife's minivan, I gotta have a step ladder because I just can't get up there to see. Now here are the disadvantages to this gun. Now I said before, on the other one, it's easier. This, obviously, having to connect all these quick disconnects and the hose disconnects and all that kind of stuff, it is more work. It does require tools, and you want to make sure you have the Teflon tape to make sure that these are torqued down and you're not going to have any leaks. Because if you have any leaks, your pressure washer is just going to go rant, rant, rant all the time because you have a leak somewhere in the setup. So I bought this gun with the quick disconnects already on there, so you can do that as well. You can buy it without them, so you can get the better gun and use brass quick disconnects, or you can use stainless steel, whether you want to save a little bit of money by going to the brass. A lot of them, there's like an industry standard or universal, but it isn't always universal. There's slight little tolerance differences. Some 1/4 inch quick disconnects from different companies don't mesh well with each other, so you gotta make sure you try to keep to within the same company. I actually have a stainless steel quick disconnect that will not connect to this. It just goes in there and it just won't go over the top. There's like a slight little tolerance in there. Now obviously the biggest downfall is cost. This stuff is not cheap. This is 75 feet of hose, industrial commercial hose. It's about 80 to 100 bucks for a decent brand, a decent make. A gun's going to cost you at least $50 for a really decent gun. You can get them as low as 20, 30 bucks. Northern Tool will sell them in places like that, but the higher quality guns with the built-in swivels, if you don't have a built-in swivel, the swivel's going to cost you 10 to 15 bucks for a brass, maybe 20 bucks for a stainless steel one. Like I said, quick disconnects, all that kind of stuff, it just adds up. But that's why I went with the cheaper pressure washer, because I spend so much on these. I can't afford a $1,000 pressure washer because I probably have $1,000 worth of aftermarket parts altogether. So that's it for this video on the reasons why I use an aftermarket custom setup on my pressure washer. Basically, the only thing I use on it is the pump and the connections to the pump. That is it. Everything else is completely aftermarket. And like I said, that is a big cost. If you're somebody that doesn't wash your car very often, stick with the box solution. Unless you get one of those hoses that's real plasticky, I would definitely get a better hose. You can get this at Home Depot, real cheap. It's not high quality, but it's better. So let me know in the comments, what are the reasons that you use aftermarket or modified parts, or do you only use the out-of-the-box solution? Let me know. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. As I wash the car, and if you're somebody, a jet flying over, this stuff costs a lot more. Man, those guys drive like a bat out of hell. I swear. If you see my reels on Instagram, you'll see why I care about delivery trucks, because I had one go right through a stop sign and damn near kill somebody.